An intercepted phone call released by the Security Service of Ukraine on December 18 suggests North Korean troops are suffering hundreds of casualties fighting for Russia in Kursk Oblast. In the call, a nurse at a Moscow hospital tells her husband, a soldier fighting in Kursk Oblast, that wounded fighters are being brought in by the trainload. Yesterday, there was a train with about 100 people. Today, there are 120. That's already about 200, she says. How many more are there? God only knows, she adds. She also claims that wards are being emptied to make way for the North Korean wounded, and hospital staff have trouble communicating with them and are not allowed to speak to them in English. Are they elite or what, these Koreans? We are freeing up certain wards for them, she says. This claims made are in line with recent Western estimates of North Korean losses. A couple hundred North Korean troops have been killed or wounded fighting in Russia's Kursk Oblast against Ukraine, the Associated Press reported on December 17, citing a senior U.S. military official. The official did not give an exact figure, but said the high casualty rate was in part due to the soldiers' lack of battle experience. Russia has reportedly deployed over 10,000 North Korean troops to help oust Ukrainian troops fighting in Kursk Oblast since early August. The full extent of North Korean losses is hard to ascertain, as President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia is trying to hide the casualties. Ukraine's Special Operation Forces said that they had killed 50 North Korean soldiers in Kursk Oblast in 3 days and injured 47 more. Despite the losses within Russian and North Korean ranks, the Ukrainian soldiers fighting in Kursk Oblast seem to be increasingly on the back foot, facing a Russian advantage in manpower and equipment. Russian forces are carrying out an intensive offensive in Kursk Oblast for the third day in a row, Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky said, as Ukrainian forces are on the defensive in the border region. For the third day, Russian forces have been conducting intensive offensive operations in Kursk Oblast, actively using North Korean units, Syrsky said in an online address to the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities held in Lviv, according to Interfax Ukraine. North Korean mercenaries have already suffered heavy losses, Ukraine's commander said, adding that Kyiv's troops are holding the defenses, destroying personnel and equipment. Citing Ukrainian soldiers, The Economist wrote that Ukraine likely lost around half of the territory it had captured in the initial phase of the operation in August and September. An officer talking to the outlet connected this development to the redeployment of elite units that first spearheaded the offensive. Ukraine likely seeks to hold on to a piece of Russian territory as a possible bargaining chip ahead of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's expected push for peace negotiations. Russian security forces have detained 2 suspects over the assassination of a top Kremlin general and his assistant in Moscow, Russian media reported. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov was killed in Moscow on December 17 with a bomb attached to a scooter. The Security Service of Ukraine claimed responsibility for the attack. According to Kommersant and several other Russian outlets cited by independent news website Meduza, the 2 suspects carried out the killings on the orders of the SBU. They were detained by police who saw surveillance cameras footage from the scene which recorded a pair of suspicious cars. Russian Telegram channel 112 said the suspects had already confessed to authorities. One, a 29-year-old male, reportedly said he flew to Moscow where he rented a car, installed cameras to record the explosion, and used a homemade explosive device. Interior Ministry spokeswoman Irina Volk, quoted by RIA, said he was arrested in the village of Chernoy in the Balashikha district of Moscow. According to his alleged testimony, he was promised $100,000 for the murder and was in touch with an SBU officer through a messaging app. Russian officials have not yet announced the conclusion of the investigation. Kirillov was the head of the Russian Armed Forces Radiation, Chemical, and Biological Defense Troops. A day before his assassination, Ukrainian prosecutors charged Kirillov in absentia with the use of banned chemical weapons in Ukraine. Moscow's forces have been increasingly deploying gas attacks against Ukrainian troops, a Kyiv independent investigation from August found, and Kirillov has since been sanctioned by the UK and Canada for his role in their use. Kirillov was a war criminal and a completely legitimate target, as he gave orders to use banned chemical weapons against Ukrainian soldiers, an SBU source said. Retribution for war crimes is inevitable. In Poland, a fire occurred at the National Center for Nuclear Research near Warsaw, with casualties reported. The Polish outlet Miejski Reporter shared the news. According to the publication, the fire broke out on Wednesday, December 18th, at the premises of the National Center for Nuclear Research in Otwock, near Warsaw. As a result, 2 people were injured. As journalists found out, a gas explosion occurred in a laboratory rented by a third-party company. Firefighters have already brought the fire under control. The fire occurred at a considerable distance from the Maria research reactor. This center is engaged in experimental and theoretical research for the most fundamental laws of nature, participating in large research consortia. It looks into the depths of the smallest components of matter, as well as far into the sky, using robotic observers of its own design. At the center, employees conduct research on reactors and work on nuclear fuel and the safety of nuclear facilities. They also research hot plasma for fusion energy and develop methods for modifying materials. They conduct research on safety and environmental protection. The center is preparing for the role of a technical support organization for the Polish nuclear program. It is developing the necessary infrastructure for this, in particular, by creating the Swerk Information Center. In June, a powerful explosion occurred at the Polish Mesko plant, which supplies defense products to Ukraine. It happened on the territory of a workshop where fuel for missiles and rockets was stored. Another batch of main battle tanks and artillery systems was shipped to Poland by South Korea. The transport vessel arrived on Tuesday, December 17, 2024. The Polish Armaments Agency under the Ministry of Defense stated that 7 K2 Black Panther tanks, 16 K9A1 Thunder 155mm self-propelled howitzers, and 6 Homer K239 Chunmoo multiple launch rocket systems modules were delivered. The modules will be mounted in Poland on domestically produced Jeltz 88 2.578 by 8 chassis. As of now, the Korean side has already delivered a total of 84 tanks to the Polish military, as planned for 2024. The previous batch of 6 tanks was delivered to Poland in November. Next year, Poland is expected to receive the remaining 96 K2 Black Panther tanks as part of a $3.4 billion agreement with Hyundai Rotem dated August 2022. The contract provides for the supply of 180 K2 Black Panther tanks by the end of 2025. Poland and South Korean companies have agreed to include training, maintenance, and ammunition in the deal. State Secretary of the Ministry of National Defense Paweł Beda, who is responsible for overseeing the technical modernization of the Polish Army, noted that the delivery of K9 self-propelled artillery systems is proceeding as scheduled, and deliveries of Homer K rocket launchers have been accelerated. Thus, in November, Poland received another batch of 12 K9A1 Thunder under the implementation contract concluded in August 2022 for 212 units of such systems. With the December delivery, the number of these artillery systems in the Polish Army increased to 136. Under the contract, the artillery systems will be delivered between 2022 and 2026, with further modernization to the K9PL variant developed by experts from the Polish Armaments Group, PGZ, and Warthog Defense. Poland currently has 120 such self-propelled artillery systems.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.